entire corporation of Center Grove Community School Corporation. We are very, very thankful for you being here, and please come back sometimes. All right, we here at Center Grove develop knowledgeable, confident, and responsible citizens through interpersonal and innovative learning opportunities. At this time, we will have the pledge to our flag, and this evening, our pledge will be led by Harper Dobbs. And so, Harper, if you will come forward, please. Step right up to the microphone. You may want to adjust it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Parker, we would like for you to step out in front and accept a certificate from Dr. Bill Long.
Mrs. Hyde, would you like to say a few
Could I,
words?
yeah, I could say a few words about Sweet Harper. Harper is a 5th grade student at Sugar Grove Elementary, and I met with our 5th grade teachers and trying to decide who we would like to honor and represent our school tonight. And our school has a theme this year that's throw kindness around like confetti. And so we tried to think of which kiddo would represent kindness, and Harper was the kiddo that came to mind. She's a wonderful helper, always has a smile on her face, enthusiastic. She's got a great sense of humor, and she's a very kind kid. So we are very happy to have Harper here representing our school tonight.
May I add that the family of Harper's here. Would you please stand, all of you who are here? Thanks, Bill. Thank you so much for being here.
And you don't have to stay.
At this time, I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda of the evening.
Madam Chairman, I move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed likewise. Motion carried. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is recognition presentations, and specifically, we will be presenting some Shining Star Awards.
Thank you, Mrs. Toomey. And Mr. Hubbard will be
Yes.
doing that.
Mhm.
Hello, thank you for coming tonight. The Shining Star Award recognizes an employee, a student, or community member who has gone beyond the expectations to make Center Grove community a better place. To be eligible for a Shining Star Award, the nominee must have exhibited actions that go beyond his or her normal duties or daily responsibilities. The nominee must demonstrate that he or she went above and beyond one of these 4 areas. He or she must have made a difference in the life of someone else, fostered a more productive workplace for the school community, encourage teamwork or collaboration within the Center Grove Community School Corporation, or initiate a positive change. So with that being said, I'd be honored tonight to nominate Landon Blackwell. Landon, would you come up? I would like to nominate Landon Blackwell for the Shining Star Award. Landon is a junior at Center Grove High School. For the last 2 years, Landon has placed close to 3,000 flags on graves of veterans in Johnson County. He started what he has called the No Fallen Soldiers Left Behind project using his own money. A year ago, he started accepting donations and received 500 flags from a local American Legion. This year, his goal was to place 1,000 flags before Veterans Day on veterans' graves. To help reach this goal, his friends from his youth group came out with him to help place flags at the Greenwood Cemetery. Landon says he was inspired by the Wounded Warrior Project and his own relatives who served. They would include his Uncle Jeremy, a paternal grandfather, Bill, who was a Navy veteran, his maternal step-grandfather, Pete, who was an Army veteran, served for 35 years, his late maternal grandfather, Tom, who was a pilot in Vietnam War and served 2 tours of duty, which included 943 combat missions. Wow. Landon has been inspired by so many past and present veterans that he plans to join the United States Air Force after high school. As a veteran of the Air Force, I'm humbled to learn that we have a student here that would take his own time and money to honor veterans. We would like to recognize him for his incredible act of service on veterans by honoring Landon a Shining Star Award.
Watch that stuff.
Thank you to all of the families that are here this evening, and we appreciate your presence so much. Okay.
And you can leave if you'd like.
Thank you, Landon.
No.
Another recognition. I think we're just doing that.
Thank you, Landon.
Okay. All right. That's it. All right.
Recognition of the PAC committee.
Okay.
It's
All right.
not on your agenda.
Okay, we would now like to recognize the individuals who served on the PAC committee,
Thank you. I'll go ahead.
and Dr. Arkanoff will present those.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Toomey. On behalf of the school board and the Center Grove Community School Corporation, I'd like to take a moment and recognize the folks that helped with the running of the referendum. These folks believed in their heart greatly for safety, security, and mental health for children in our district. And so several of them couldn't make it this evening, probably mostly due to kids' events and so forth. So with us tonight is our leader who helped us lead the PAC. Many of you know her, Mrs. Porat. I said it right, Mrs. Porat. I like to call her Lisa. And she graciously volunteered to be the leader and support the PAC, and she did an amazing job. And Lisa, with that, the board would like to recognize you with a certificate of appreciation from the school district, and of course, alongside all of
Sure, I'll say one thing.
All right.
Thanks, Lisa.
And while Lisa's coming up to say something, I will mention the other folks. Jennifer Rayco helped as well, parent and community member. Jill Johnson, parent and community member, and Amy Counts. We're all part of the PAC leadership, and I'll make sure they get these certificates as well.
Sure.
Great.
I'll just be brief, which is rare for me. I just want to say thank you, first of all, to the board. All of us continue to share the passion for this program, for the referendum mission and vision, and we will continue to support that, whatever it takes to get the security and safety and mental health support for our students. So just know that we continue to support this, we continue to believe in our community, and we continue to support our schools. So thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for this.
Thank you. You may leave. Thank you, Mrs. Toomey.
You're welcome. The next item on our agenda is public comments. May I remind you, we have one individual this evening who is signed to speak. Persons desiring to address the board concerning a scheduled public agenda item must register before the start of the meeting, and that has happened. Registration will close 5 minutes before the scheduled start of the meeting. The person's statement may not exceed 3 minutes. And so, if several people have indicated they desire to speak, the time may be reduced, but we only have one, Dr. Huber, this evening. Please approach the microphone, Dr. Huber, and keeping in mind that our agenda time for this is 3 minutes. So, thank you.
I'm Dick Hubert. First of all, I wanted to thank you because I was able to pick up my silver card tonight. Okay? I just hope I'm still young enough to enjoy some of it. Number one, I want to thank you for recognizing the referendum PAC. Number two, I would like for you to sometime consider recognizing voters who voted for the referendum, because after all, the majority of the voters had nothing else on the ballot except the referendum. And then number three, I hope sometime the board will publicly address some of those important issues that were on the referendum, because the public looks at it like, well, we're not going to get any of that. Number four, school funding. I have to admit, I do not understand school funding. I don't think most citizens do. I think most of them look at it, how can you afford millions of dollars for a swimming pool, for example, and can't find money for another security camera? You know, most citizens don't know what the problem is. If it's a problem at the state level, then we need to have a field day at the State House like the teachers did. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Huber.
Thank you, Dr. Huber.
Next item on our agenda is the consent items, and do I hear a motion for approval for those items?
Madam President, I move that we approve the consent items.
Thank you very much. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. You have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, likewise. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next item is approve employee stipends. Dr. Arkanoff.
Thank you, Mrs. Toomey. This evening, I'm recommending that the board approve employee stipends, and Mr. Taylor will provide you with some additional information.
Thank you, Dr. Arkanoff. The Teacher Appreciation Grant, otherwise known as TAG, provides $30 per student to Indiana school districts, and that amount is given to each school district to be paid to the teachers. State law requires that the board policy to distribute the TAG, and we have board policy 3220.01, which outlines Center Grove's distribution of the TAG. The grant total will be used to pay stipends to teachers who received a final effectiveness rating of effective or highly effective last school year. This also takes into account the policy given to us from the Department of Education to hold teachers harmless for the testing results from this past year, and we did take that opportunity. As per our policy and the statutory requirement, stipends will be differentiated by 25% between highly effective and effective rated teachers. Dr. Gabriel has estimated that the TAG stipends for the current qualifying teachers and the approximate grant dollars. Teachers rated highly effective will receive a stipend of $683, and the teachers with an effective rating will receive $546. That 25% is the lowest allowable difference by the statute. If the calculations change for some reason between now and honestly December 1st, we will make those adjustments. There's a little caveat in the law that says teachers also have to be active on December 1st, but we intend to pay it prior, so we could have a few changes, but we don't anticipate any. We are asking that the board, this evening, we're also asking that the board follow a prior practice and approve stipends for all eligible administrators and all permanent support staff levels A, B, and C, as well as one level D employee who meets the evaluation requirement. Level A and B employees will receive either a 1.12% stipend if rated highly effective, or a 0.89% stipend if rated effective. That 1.12 is the equivalent of what the percentage is given to the teachers this year in the fixed stipend. Level C and D aren't differentiated between highly effective or effective, and so they will receive 1.12% as a whole. Pending board approval and payment from the state, the stipends will be paid on November 27th, 2019. And I have an attachment that Ms. Parker's been scrolling through as I spoke to kind of talk about the other details if needed. I'll entertain any questions.
Any questions?
Do we have the stipend from the state?
Yes,
So
I believe we received it earlier in November.
earlier in November, that's earlier than normal?
Yes.
Normally, we don't get it till the second week of December, and we're scrambling to get it paid, so that's a move in the right direction from our friends at the state.
Any further comments?
And Jason, just to be clear and make sure everybody understands, this is money that the state gives to us to pass through. We spend it or we lose it.
That is
So
correct. Any
this
dollar
is
not
not
spent
necessarily
is
coming out of
returned.
our budget. It's
Exactly.
not being paid out instead of being in a situation where, you know, other funding obligations are
Yeah,
not.
I would like to say, so every dollar from the tag grants has to be spent or returned to the state, and we do use that full amount. And we do supplement a little with cash balance to make sure it's an even dollar amount for teachers. For the other employees that the tag grant does not provide a stipend to, that is from cash balance. It's something that we've done in prior years, and it's something we'll.
But that's also consistent with, we want to treat all of our employees the same. And
Exactly.
we want our custodians, we want our bus drivers, we want our administrators, we want everybody. And then it's similar when we go raises. We try to do the same thing for everybody. So that's consistent with board policy that we're all one team.
That is exactly correct.
But the teacher money is straight from the state, not our budget. Thank you.
I guess the only other thing I'll add is that this is something that is a non-negotiable item because it comes directly from the state, and cash balance isn't negotiable, so.
That is correct. We still did execute our opportunity to discuss it with the teachers, and they've had input along the way.
Okay.
All right, do I hear a motion for approval of the employee stipends?
Madam President, I move that we approve the employee stipends as presented.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed likewise. Motion carried. Thank you. The next action item is the approval of new course proposals for the high school.
Thank you, Mrs. Toomey.
Dr. Archibald.
Thank you. This evening, I'm recommending that the board approve the new high school course proposals as presented. Mrs. Hoover will provide you with some additional information.
Sure, thank you. Each year, the high school makes course proposals for potential courses available for students in future scheduling. The course requests are vetted through the department chairs as well as the high school administrative team. This year, the high school would like to add 13 course descriptions for potential courses in the academic guide. These requests include courses across multiple departments: 3 English courses, 3 social studies, 2 for English language learners, 1 in business, and 4 in family and consumer sciences. 4 of these requests are global campus courses, which will expand our online learning options for students in the future. A decision on whether to offer these courses or not will be determined at a later date by the high school based on staffing, student choice, and instructor availability. These courses match the course descriptions approved by the State Department of Education for high school course offerings.
Thank you. Comments? Questions?
I think the only comment I make, I was excited about when I read the description for the cybersecurity course, so I hope there's interest there. Does the technology department get involved when it's a technology course? Is there any?
They could. We are very fortunate in that we have a teacher in our business department who also has a lot of STEM experience in her work life and then in her teaching experience, so she can teach Project Lead the Way courses,
Gotcha.
including that one. So she kind of crosses, has her foot in both departments.
Foot in both doors, very cool.
They do get some of our best spare, though, spare equipment.
I was gonna say, I bet you there's some, a little bit.
Yeah.
What's the length of time to get these courses up and going?
Well, if you approve these tonight, they will go into the selections the students have when they start the scheduling process, which happens like
Soon.
as soon as you, approve these courses, or not. And so they'll get started on that, and then just like everything else in the master calendar, master schedule, it's all about how many students
How
want
many
to
sign
take
up.
those. If they only have 3 people that want to sign up for a new English course, probably not
Maybe
this
not.
year. You have to drum up your business and hopefully in the future, but that goes year to year with a lot of courses.
Yeah, okay.
I just
It's
wanted,
not 5 years out.
No, we could start these next year if there's
Interesting.
availability and student choice for those.
I just want to compliment the process, because I know Center Grove being a larger school, 6A football, 4A other sports, being a larger school, we're able to offer a lot of these interesting courses, which then I think give all of our kids a leg up, whether they go straight into the workforce, whether they get higher education. I just like the fact that we're always trying to be innovative. We're trying to say what's the need, and I always appreciate your process, that you go to the chairs, you go to the high school, they come with recommendations. They don't all make it,
They
but
don't.
those that do, I know the materials you provide as to why I commend the process.
Yeah, the high school works very hard with their teachers and administrators, and I appreciate that they're trying to engage students in classes beyond the typical core subjects and going in, even in the core subjects, like the English courses are very high interest courses for students that might not want to sit in a regular senior English class.
It's a lot
British
different,
literature is not everybody's thing.
a lot different than when I graduated a couple of years ago.
It should be, right? Getting better all the time.
Thank you, Mrs. Hoover. Do I hear a motion for approval of the new course proposals?
Madam President, I move that we, sorry, I already moved on to this. I move that we approve the new high school course descriptions as presented for inclusion in the high school academic guide.
Thank you. Do I hear a second? Thank you. All those in favor of approval of the new course proposals, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next action item is the approval of a resolution requesting adoption of traffic regulations. Dr. Arkanoff?
Thank you, Mrs. Toomey. This evening, I'm recommending that the board approve a resolution requesting Johnson County adopt traffic regulations, and Dr. Long will provide you with some additional information.
Thank you. In response to ongoing safety issues at the schools with parking in unauthorized areas, parents dropping off and picking up students in areas not designated for those functions, we're asking the school board to pass a resolution requesting the Johnson County Commissioners pass an ordinance to establish no parking and student drop-off and pickup zones. If the ordinance is passed by the county commissioners, it will allow the Center Grove Police Department to ticket violators on school grounds. Indiana Code 9-21-1-3 gives the local authority with respect to private roads and highways under the authority's jurisdiction the authority to adopt traffic regulations governing traffic control on public school grounds when requested by the governing body of the school corporations. Since there's not a formal way to do that specified in the law, our attorney drafted this resolution asking the county commissioners to approve that. We're asking the board to approve the resolution to formally request the county commissioners adopt the ordinance authorizing no parking, student drop-off, and student pickup zones, and authorizing the Center Grove Police Department to enforce them. This resolution doesn't create an ordinance, it just formally asks the county council to consider passing one. We, along with our attorney, have been working with the county attorney, and we are scheduled to present this resolution to the county commissioners at their meeting on Monday, December 9th, 2019. We believe then it would be on their agenda on Monday, December 16th, and hopefully would be passed on January 14th of 2020. We would then start placing signs and immediately communicating this to our parents, students, and staff. I think we would want to spend the next 6+ months communicating and educating and start the enforcement of this on July 1st of 2020 if the county council would pass this ordinance.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Long. Comments, questions?
Well, one thing, starting it in the summer, even though we don't really have summer anymore, but it gives people time to go, whoa, where'd those signs come from, before the masses hit.
All right.
And also a full 6 to 7 months here of sending stuff out, albeit we know everybody doesn't always read that. But hopefully the message will get out, and in the neighborhoods they'll talk to each other, because, yeah, it's getting bad.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Further comments?
I like the game plan. I like the getting the communication out there. I'm sure Stacy and Dr. Henderson and his team will be working on that. Not only do we need to educate the parents, but probably the students as well. So watching drop off and pick up in the afternoons is kind of entertaining at times, especially at Middle School North. So,
I was just gonna ask, this is at the middle schools
This
too.
is for all of our
This is
schools.
for all
All our
our schools.
buildings, yeah.
so go
Great.
forth.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Further comments, questions? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those,
We're gonna need a motion
oh,
first.
I'm sorry, I need a motion.
I move that we approve the resolution requesting Johnson County adopt traffic regulations governing traffic control on public school grounds.
Thank you.
I
Dan?
second.
All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed likewise. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next action item is to authorize the 2020 tax anticipation warrants. Dr. Arkanoff?
Thank you, Mrs. Toomey. This evening, I'm recommending the board approve the resolution to borrow money from the Indiana Bond Bank, and Dr. Gabriel will provide you with some additional information.
Thank you. Again, for calendar year 2020, Center Grove is going to participate in the Indiana Bond Bank program of temporary loans in anticipation of property tax revenues. Since property taxes come in normally in June and December, that results in cash flow deficits in April and May and October, November, the months just before that. Our projection for our needs for calendar year 2020 in the operations fund are $4.2 million. This amount will be borrowed early in January, and then it will be paid back in its entirety when our tax revenues all come in in the last few days of December. For comparison purposes, in 2019 we borrowed $4.1 million. We got a tax rate of an interest rate of 2.52%, and expect to pay interest of $94,658 for this year. Material's been prepared by Bose McKinney and Evans. They're the bond counsel for the Indiana Bond Bank, and they're all in almost exactly the same format that we've used in prior years. There's a chart attached to this that shows what our history has been, and for the last few years, the amount we need to borrow has grown a little bit each year as the size of our budget grows a little bit each year. At this time, board action is needed to approve the resolution and also authorize the President and Secretary to sign a variety of documents that are available this evening, and some will be made available later to sign.
Thank you, Dr. Gabriel. Are there questions or concerns from the board? If not, I will entertain a motion for approval.
I move that we approve the resolution authorizing tax anticipation warrants and authorize the President and Secretary to sign documents as needed.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of the authorization of the 2020 tax anticipation warrants, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed likewise. Motion carried. Thank you very much. Our next item on the action item list is the authorization of additional appropriations for hearing and resolutions. Dr. Gabriel. I'm sorry, Dr. Arkadolf,
Yes.
that's your name.
We'll get to him.
Okay.
This evening, I'm recommending that the board approve additional appropriations and transfer to funds. And this evening's board meeting has been appropriately advertised as an additional appropriations hearing. So I will turn this meeting over to you, Mrs. Toomey, to run the hearing. And so we'll be right down. Get you that page, sorry. Ooh, need a little bit further. There we are, you're right there on the open hearing.
All right, this evening's board meeting has been appropriately advertised as a hearing on additional appropriations. I now open this public hearing. I would like to call on Dr. Gabriel to provide information about additional appropriations, and then he has mostly presented that. Do you have additional comments?
I have a material on the screen I'd like to discuss.
All right, this will be appropriate time for you to do that.
Okay. So this evening, we're asking for an additional appropriation that gives us the authority to spend the additional revenue that we receive in the second half of the year. This revenue includes the teacher appreciation grant we just talked about, as well as additional revenue through the state formula. And as you can see on the screen, in the operations fund, we're requesting additional appropriation of $85,000 to pay the stipends to employees in that fund. We're requesting money to pay staff raises of 4.5%. That would cover the last 6 months of 2019. And also money to pay new staff members that were hired at the beginning of this school year. And then finally, some additional money to pay for increased costs of utilities. They seem to keep rising faster than what we have increased the budget. So the total amount of additional appropriation we're requesting in the operations fund is $435,000. In the education fund, again, we're requesting money to pay the teacher appreciation grant, money to pay the staff raises for staff in this fund of 4.5% that cover the last 6 months of 2019, and money to pay for new staff that were hired at the beginning of the 2019-20 school year, and that over $500,000 covers 14 new teaching positions, the assistant principal that's new at Walnut Grove, and 8 instructional aides. And the total amount in the education fund is $1,870,000. And as I said, money for this additional appropriation will come from a combination of the teacher appreciation grant and cash balance and new formula revenue that we receive in the second half of the calendar year 2019. There's a resolution that has been attached, and the format of that resolution is prescribed by the DLGF, the Department of Local Government Finance, and we're asking, after the hearing's over with, for the board to approve that resolution.
Thank you, Dr. Gabriel. This is the appropriate time for members of the public to comment on the additional appropriations or the information presented this evening. Are there members of the public present who would like to comment? Are there any board members who would like to comment?
This is part of the new process with the way the new budgeting works. Is that correct? I mean, I know we've done something similar in the past, but the funds have been slightly different.
Yeah, we have done similar things in the past, probably for the last 5 or 6 years. It's a little bit different this year because we have to separate it in the operations fund and the education fund. Typically, that's just been done in the general fund. But this year, we've also received, because of our the size of our enrollment growth, over 300 kids, we're receiving a lot of additional money in the second half of 2019 to cover the cost of educating those additional kids.
Just so I'm clear, Dr. Gabriel, you're asking for the $435,000 to be transferred into the operations fund and the $1.87 million to be transferred into the education?
Not exactly. This isn't a transfer.
Okay.
Basically, I would describe this by saying, in order for us to have the legal authority to pay a bill, to spend money, we have to have the money, and then we have to have the budget to cover that. We've got the money.
Yeah.
This just increases the budget in each fund to give us the authority to spend the money that's already there.
So would you call it an appropriation then instead of a?
Yeah, yes, this is
Okay.
not a transfer, that's
It's,
the next.
it's an appropriation.
This is just an additional appropriation.
Okay.
Thank you, because our motion calls it a transfer.
That's fine.
Okay,
I'll make the motion.
You got
all right.
Yep.
I,
No, I think you're on the wrong.
That's fine.
Oh,
Rob's
you're
got
right.
it.
I
We're
got it.
good.
I got it.
They're right. They're
I
correct.
mean, the motion is simply to approve the resolution that's been attached to this material.
okay, I now close this public hearing, and are there any further comments by board members? All right, then I will entertain a motion.
Madam President, I move that we approve the additional appropriation resolution as presented by Dr. Gabriel.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. The motion has been made in second for approval. All those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
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 Those opposed, likewise. Motion carried.
You kind of mixed it up on us there. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to say yes.
Thank you. Just seeing if you guys are paying.
I did what I was told to do.
Thank you very much.
Mrs. Toomey, were you a yes too?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Yes, I was. All right, let's see.
Our next agenda item is the resolution. So, let's see. Resolution to authorize travel.
Okay. Our next item is to approve the resolution to authorize transfers throughout 2020.
Yes.
Dr. Arkanoff?
Thank you, Mrs. Toomey. This evening, I'm recommending the board adopt a resolution to authorize transfers throughout 2020, and Dr. Gabriel will provide you with some additional information.
Yes, this is a pretty straightforward process. You have the resolution in front of you. Beginning in 2019, when the state adopted a new funding structure, it requires this type of a transfer. We've chosen to transfer an equal amount every month. Throughout 2019, that appears to be working for us very well. We're proposing the same thing for next year. Total amount of the transfer is $6,690,000, which would be made in equal monthly transfers after the receipt of our tuition support from the state every month. We may need to adjust this for the last few months of 2020, but it turned out we didn't need to do that in 2019, so we'll just have to see how it goes for 2020. But we are asking the board to approve this resolution this evening.
Comments or questions? Then I will entertain a motion to adopt the resolution to authorize transfers from the Education Fund to the Operations Fund.
Madam President, I move that we adopt the resolution to authorize the transfers from the Education Fund to the Operations Fund throughout 2020.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you very much. The motion has been made to adopt the resolution to transfer funds. Do I have a approval?
Aye.
I think you're asking for ayes.
I am asking for ayes.
I approve.
All those in favor then, I'll say it that way.
Aye.
Oh, okay. Those opposed likewise? Motion carried.
Just keeping you on your toes, guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 10 on our agenda is other business. At this point, Mr. Russell, do you have any comments or announcements?
Just real quick, at your place, you have the agenda for the State Board of Education business meeting unable to make it since it was the day after the elections. I was busy picking up signs. And two-sided, you had Center Grove Education Foundation and the alumni. Lots of good things going on there. We'll note, because of our postseason football, some basketball dates have changed, which changed a presentation that was going to happen. So we're looking at when that presentation can be moved to now of a nice picture and stuff.
Okay.
And then the 2019 Fall Regional Meeting Booklet is at your desk. Just real quickly, in that, there's legislative priorities. That's what ISBA is working on. They're going to the State House and bending ears. Foundational is the core values. So you'll see those two things there that might look the same, but they're not. And then the legal issues, you might want to read some of those. They're real fun on what people will do around the state.
At this point, nothing shocking.
Yeah, it's always fun. And that's it. I'll be attending the law seminar coming up here in December 11th.
Mr. Alexander?
None at this time, Madam President.
Mr. Hubbard?
No comments.
And Mr. Daniels?
I do just want to make a brief comment, and as controversial as it may be on the referendum, thank you, Dr. Huber, for speaking up today and others. And I do want to thank the voters, not only the voters that voted in favor, but also the voters that participated and didn't vote for it. The purpose of the referendum was to provide better, upgraded, immediate safety and security. I want to be clear, we have safe schools. We have secure schools. We found ways that we thought we could make it even safer and even better. So thank you for everybody that participated in the process. We will continue as a board to provide the safest schools that we can. And this group up here, the administrators do one heck of a job at that, and they will continue to do that. So thank you, everybody that participated in the process.
Thank you. You have anything else?
Just one reminder about January 7th is now the first student day. When we transferred the waiver day for the Red for Ed Day, I just want to remind everybody that the first student day now will be January 7th.
Okay. Any other comments from administrators? All right, okay, thank you. All right, then, having here no further comments, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam President, I move that we adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of adjournment, please signify aye. Okay, thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned.